Om. Welcome to Meaningful Morning. Some weeks ago, when I was in Cleveland facilitating our Hanuman Chalisa-thon, I had shared with all that Sanatana Dharma has survived and succeeded not because of a mandir, but rather because of a parambara, the tradition of teacher leaders. Zooming into this truth, over the last year and a half, our community has invested a lot into Sangha, particularly our mentorship Sangha, where a more experienced seeker is associating with a less experienced seeker. We're doing this through Prithvi Seva now, and so on. In our mentorship Sangha, Wednesdays are special. On Wednesdays, all of the mentors and mentees share a win they've had this past week, a Wednesday win, that they didn't use the snooze button or they ate less ice cream, whatever it is. I feel, as we reflect on Wednesday wins, our win is that we're still alive. There are a trillion reasons for us not to be alive. It could be a virus, it could be an irresponsible driver, it could be a poor heart condition, but we're alive. And being alive gives us that opportunity to remember the divine. This is our Wednesday win. This morning, I had sent the confirmation email for our Devis, for our Devi Yatra. Within hours, this was full. I did unfortunately share with many Devis that they're on the waiting list. Reflecting on our Divine Mother more. There is a Asura whose name is Mahishasura. Mahisha Asura. It is this selfish being that keeps changing shapes. And Mahishasura is defeated, is destroyed by a form of Bhagavati Lakshmi. You all know about this. We listen to Mahishasura Mardini Stotra. Fine. But there's so many layers of depth to this on how we can personalize this. Here is one. Mahishasura is representative of one of the knots in our heart called the Kama Granthi. Kama means desire. And what's powerful about this, desire keeps changing forms, correct? I desire this, but then it changes form to I desire this. And how is desire dissolved? Bhagavati Lakshmi is the icon for Sampatti, which means wealth, or inner wealth. And another word for that, for us, virtues. The more virtuous one becomes, the more one unties this, holding oneself back. Here is another greater depth. Mahishasura symbolizes asambhavana, Asambhavana is when you feel a teaching doesn't apply to you. Like throughout Bhagavad Gita, the message is infinite you are, but you don't have faith that you are infinite. And Bhagavati Lakshmi here symbolizes manana. The more you reflect, the more you feel this does apply to you. Asambhavana is dissolved by manana. One of my teachers had shared that Shravana, or listening, facilitates information. Manana, or reflecting, facilitates confirmation. And he even described this as, it's like taking this raw material that we've just listened to and putting it into a furnace. That rawness goes away, correct? It becomes solid. I'm sharing this with all of you because the section of Bhagavad Gita we're in right now, in reference to values, it's not like you haven't listened to this before. You already know contentment is important. You already know organization is important. What we are doing together is we're putting this into a furnace. So that this becomes solid, so that we become solid. In verse 15, the 13th value, our value, Sri Krishna's virtue, is mukta, to be free of anxiety, regrets, excitement. Try to see this like a bell curve. Imagine you have a very wide bell curve. And on my right here is anxiety. The more I plan, the more I pull in that anxiety. It becomes less. The more I learn, I pull in that regret. It becomes less. Now I'm living in the present more, correct? And when you can live in the present enough, that's where you tune into the presence. Living in the present is not enough. That's almost like the greatest. But what's beyond the greatest? God. That's the present. On March 30th, that was Bhagwan Rama's Jayanti, my mother's mother, my nani, had passed away in the hospital. And so my mother, she just completed the rituals relating to that. So now my uncles and aunts, they're all going to Mahakaleshwar in Ujjain. And Mahakaleshwar literally means the one who's beyond time. So in this verse, to be free is a way of tuning into this presence. And this enables one to then practice line 1 of this verse. For us to write down, na udvijate, it means not annoy, but I'm trying to package this into just one word, in which case it would be no dvijate. Because of Sanskrit grammar rules, it's no dvijate, which makes sense too, right? No, no annoy. So how to do this? The way to not be annoyed by the world is to follow dharma. Dharma is that which integrates. The more integrated you are, the less conflict there is. Imagine I drive like this all over every lane. The chances of me getting into an accident is higher. But if I follow my responsibility, I'm more integrated. There's less conflict then. And a way not to annoy the world is dana. If dharma integrates, dana or generosity graces. Wherever there's generosity, living becomes easier. Agreed. Coming back to a car example, when we were driving back from Pittsburgh to Niagara last night, there was many cars on the side of the road, and I was thinking to myself about how hard it must be for them at 11:30 p.m. to be on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. And how the fact that we have a decent car allows our life to be easier. I don't have to worry about getting home, about the safety of my wife and children. And zooming into this more, I have found people have a practice to gossip. And when one is generous, they're gossiped about less. So what is a way to just cut out gossip? Be a generous person. With that, we continue to verse 16. In verse 16, we reach our 20th value. So 13 is mukta, 14 is no dvijate. We continue. Anapeksha shuchir dakshaha, udasino gata vyataha, sarvarambha parityagi, yo madbhakta same priyaha. Joy. Number 15, anapeksha. The translation is one who is free from want. One who's not always looking around, focusing on what they don't have. As I was reading Pujaswami Chinmayananda's commentary, there's no way I can explain these values better than he has. So I'm just going to read what he has written. A real devotee is completely independent of the world outside, and he draws his inspiration, equanimity, and joyous ecstasy from a source deep within himself. If you like what you do, if you like who you are, you don't look around to try to find fulfillment. You're already experiencing that. That's what a devotee or bhakta does and is. Number 16, shuchi. This is similar to the word shaucha, which means cleanliness. Even better is purity. Pujaswami Chinmayananda has written, it is very well known that the condition of a man's table or shelf and the cleanliness of his apparel can give a great insight into the mental nature, discipline, and culture of that man. Do you agree? This commentary was written in the 50s or 60s. There are so many reports that share the condition of your car is really the condition of your mind. Right, and yes. We should make your application and take a photograph of what's underneath your car, inside underneath your car. Shuchi. Next, 17, daksha. Daksha means dexterous. Even better is daksha means diligent. One who is vigilant with their dharma. To be alert always becomes the second nature of an integrated person. Enthusiasm is the key to success in any undertaking. A dynamic person is not one who slips in his behavior or action. He is mentally agile and intellectually vigorous. Since there is no dissipation in him, He is ever on his toes to spring forward to activity once he determines to shoulder any endeavor. One who cares fully. This helps them to be careful. Next, udasina. This is value number 18. Udasina means to sit above. It is one who lives by vision, and the more lofty your vision, the less you are affected by what is less than your vision. One day when I feel like it, I'll share with you some of the awful things people say about me. And I don't even mean that casually, like my son says this or my wife says this. I mean what people in our community say. I'll tell you. And I don't give more than one thought to it. Like I register it because I have to read it or I have to hear it, but it doesn't occupy even 1% of my brain or mind. Because I know I'm trying my best with this vision. Please make sure you know what udasina means, because in Hindi it means something very different. And that's why Puja Swami Chinmayananda has written, philosophy misunderstood can easily end in the suicide of the community. I'll move in a lateral way. Philosophy not made practical can easily end in the suicide of the community. I see that happening in terms of what worked for the immigrant population, thinking that it's going to directly work for first-generation seekers. That is not helpful. There has to be adaptation. And finally, for now, Gata Vyata. That sounds nice. Gata Vyata. Vyata means to be bothered, to be troubled. Gata means to be unbothered or untroubled. The unconcerned attitude is only meant here to economize our mental energies. In human life, small difficulties, simple illnesses, discomforts, wants, etc., are but natural. To exaggerate their importance and strive to escape from them all is to enter into a lifelong struggle of adjustments. In all such instances, the student is warned not to squander away his mental energies, but to conserve them by overlooking these little pinpricks of life in an attitude of utter indifference towards them. Please read Puja Swami Chinmayananda's commentary for verse 16. I have not covered the last line. I will do so tomorrow. There's already so much content. For those who are needing more reflection on these values, next week I'm going to review these. And we are going to finish this chapter on Saturday, April 22nd, which is Earth Day. From inspiration to application, I've been indiscriminately sharing with you the importance of us not failing nature. On Monday, I shared that trees are Mahabhaga. On Tuesday, I shared trees are bhaktas, and if we are bhaktas, that we should support them. Today, I'm specifying that for every value, as you plant a tree around your home, name that tree with that value. So your 19th tree should be called Gatavyata. Put a beautiful plaque there made out of wood or your own lamination so you can see all of this being nurtured. And this is all in relation to our Plant 141 effort. Our community is trying to plant 1,000 trees to fund the planting of 10,000 trees. And we will do this if you do this. Please plant and photograph this and share this on our website. That way we can be inspired together. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.